Hi, so I'm back with a new video and let's talk about The Conjuring 3. So I gotta say this is an odd choice for me because I am not like the biggest fan of the Conjuring franchise, and up until last year I didn't even had seen any of the movies. I still have to watch Annabelle Comes Home, but I did watch all of those. Not that you need for this one. I think you might. Overall, I don't think you need to watch any of The Conjuring, which is a nice thing. You can just go into this one by itself, but at least watch like the 1 and 2 Conjurings. But yeah, so up until last year I didn't even had seen any of these movies, and this one wasn't even on my most anticipated, and I debated for a long time if I was going to review this one or not. But then I watched the trailer, and because this is about a crime, not just like a possession type of story and exorcism and all of that, I thought it was really curious. And then I was lucky enough to go to the premiere, and so yeah, it's a bit late because I didn't have the time to film it earlier, but hopefully you still like this video. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So this is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. It's the third movie, and if you don't know what this specific movie is about, again, it's about Ed and Lorraine Warren. They are the main couple, like investigators in The Conjuring, the 2 Conjuring movies before this one. The other ones deal with a lot of other things. But yeah, so this is about them looking into another case, but this case is pretty specific because it's about a guy that commits a crime and he declares himself innocent by being possessed. So they try to help him and make the jury and the judge like believe him that he wasn't himself committing this crime. He was possessed, and he didn't know what he was doing. So that's the main premise. I thought it was really cool, also because all the Conjurings are based on a true story. Some are like really loosely based on, but again, this is interesting because it involves a crime and like declaring yourself innocent with the justification being possessed. That's interesting, and I think this is the first case, at least in the United States. And yeah, I think that's it. The movie stars Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. They are Ed and Lorraine Warren, but it also stars Ruari O'Connor, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, and Sarah Catherine Hook. Post that, let's get into my thoughts. I gotta say, I quite enjoyed this one. I think it's also important to mention that I didn't have high expectations. These type of movies are based on a lot of jump scares, and that is not my favorite type of horror in like a horror movie. I much rather have like a sinister thing going on and just an uneasy feeling than just like scaring you and making you jump. So I was a bit hesitant because of that. Like the Conjuring universe is known for their jump scares, so my expectations weren't high. So I guess that made me like the movie a bit more. But overall, I just think it's pretty unique in the Conjuring universe. For once, it doesn't really have a lot of jump scares, which was a nice thing for me. It does have jump scares, but I felt the jump scares were either the ones that were in the trailer, so you knew when a jump scare was coming, and the other ones that weren't in the trailer, they were well placed and they made sense. They weren't like one after another after another. They were perfectly timed jump scares. So yeah, there were a few and they were in specific moments that made sense. So I like that. I was also really surprised with the directing and the cinematography, because this is the first Conjuring movie that isn't directed by James Wan. He directed the one and two, but this one is directed by Michael Chavez, who is also the director from The Curse of La Llorona. And I mean, that movie isn't the worst, but it's not a good one either. But I would say Michael Chavez did a pretty good job with this one. I really like the cinematography. And yeah, I do have to say that it's a dark movie. Even in the theater, it was kind of difficult to see in some scenes. So I would imagine at home it would like be really difficult to see. And with all the distractions that you have at home, I don't know if this is the movie to watch at home. I would tell you to watch it at the cinema because I did enjoy it. Along with the cinematography, I also really liked the score. Score was equally haunting and funny. It had like some songs that made the movie a bit funny at times, and there were a few comedic scenes in the movie which was odd, but at the same time it was nice to break like the tension. I don't think they were like misplaced. I liked where they placed little bits of comedy. It isn't huge, but it is like the perfect amount in my opinion. But I would say what really makes this movie is the acting. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are like really good, and they really sell you like the couples aspect. And yeah, their chemistry is really good, and yeah, I really like them, and I really like what they put into the movie and the emotional aspect that their characters bring to the movie. The downside, I would say, is the third act. The third act of the movie isn't the best. Like, the final reveal is a bit cheap, it's a bit anticlimactic, but I loved the atmosphere of the movie, and everything before the third act was pretty good. And the third act itself, it has some nice action scenes, and I like that, and some shots are like really beautiful. The story aspect of that ending isn't the best. I thought it was a bit cliche, but these movies end up being cliche like most of the time, so I wasn't mad at it. But maybe that's because I wasn't expecting much. And actually, overall, I think I would say this is my favorite in the franchise. Up until this point, I liked the Conjuring 2 the best. That's kind of an unpopular opinion. I think most people prefer the first Conjuring, but I do prefer the second one. Out of all the Conjuring universe movies like The Nun and Annabelle 2, all of those, my favorite was The Conjuring 2. But I think right now my favorite is this one. I liked the crime aspect of the movie. I liked that there was like an investigation, and I just think it's different. It has like a different twist that really sets it apart from the previous two Conjuring movies. So I guess that's it for my thoughts. Now let's get into my scores. So surprisingly, overall I give the movie a 4 out of 5. I was really not expecting to give this high score to this movie. I mean, I did give a 4 out of 5 to the previous one because I liked it, and this one I was pretty torn between a 3.5 and a 4, but I really enjoyed, like I had a good time, and that made me up it to a 4 out of 5. Cinematography, I also give it a 4 out of 5. As I said, there's some really beautiful shots, and although there's some scenes where it's a bit too dark, I also liked the aspect that gave you like a different vibe. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And originality, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Like, I don't think this is the most original movie ever, like the ending isn't original, but I like that this is different from the previous Conjuring movies. It goes a different route, it has a different structure, sort of, I guess. And yeah, I think comparing it to all the other Conjuring movies, I think this is maybe the most original one. So yeah guys, these are my thoughts on The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this third Conjuring movie. If you haven't seen it, let me know if you're thinking about watching the movie. If you did, let me know what you thought, and like which one is your favorite out of the three or out of all the movies from the Conjuring universe. Let me know which one you prefer, and yeah, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and I'll see you in my next video.